so hidden the scene. Shit tales of Oz and foreigner dreams. Tales are crazy wild as the wind. Laughs and madness could make you spin. Shit tales rolling forward as king. The podcast chaos, it's a wild thing. Tuning folks for a hell of a ride. Crazy stories far and wide. From down under to the Sunshine State, mishaps and mayhem can't escape fate. Chuvalo and Croc Dundee, a wild ride on Podcast C. Shit tales rolling Florida's king. Podcast chaos, it's a wild thing. Tuning folks for a hell of a ride. Crazy stories far and wide. From down under to the Sunshine State, mishaps and mayhem can't escape fate. Chuvalo and Croc Dundee, a wild ride on Podcast C. Shit tales rolling Florida's king. Podcast chaos, it's a wild thing. Tuning folks for a hell of a ride. Crazy stories far and wide.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special presentation of the Shittown Florida Man Power Ranking. Instead of doing an actual power ranking, we are doing an interview with one of our favorite guests and one of our favorite YouTube personalities. You know him from the Nightcap. He is the captain himself. And what else can we say except for, if you're not ready for him, where the fuck have you been?
Couldn't agree more.
G'day. Yeah. Well, g'day, everybody. How are we?
Absolutely loving it. Great to be here. Excited to have you back on and having you the subject of this very somewhat, I would say, questionable interrogation, maybe.
Oh, I do love a good interrogation. Can I get the chains and stuff? Do I have to pay extra for that in the interrogations? How does that work?
Well, Mistress Kitty has just left, but she said if we needed her to call her back. But since it is technically Saturday my time, you may want to protect yourself. It is Torture Ball Saturday.
No. Do we pay extra for this? I brought my own cuffs. Does that help?
Yeah, you get the 5% discount.
Oh, beautiful.
And we'll have Chisel playing in the background for this as well, given it is Saturday night out here as well.
Yes, sir.
Now, we are so excited for this tonight because we're going to be doing something we haven't done on the show before. And who knows, we might be doing a little bit more of it. Is interviewing some of the great personalities appearing on YouTube, some of the more funnier people you'll see and get a bit of an insight as to what gets them through. Because as you know, NCR, humor does play a big part in what does make this community great.
It does. I mean, be it us laughing at drunken morons making scenes at hotels, or the occasional sovereign citizen trying to lecture his right to travel.
Well, fortunately enough, I did travel here today, so that's a good sign. So, I went blowing through some red lights. The coppers pulled me over and I said, "Don't worry, guys, don't worry. Look, I'm traveling." And they've gone, "We need you to step out of the car so we can belt you with our sticks." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a fair call."
Well, I mean, the first time I ever came across an Australian sovereign citizen actually turned out to be the person I least expected to do it. Certain rugby league player by the name of Brent Kite getting pulled over and trying to run that line through them, and that went about as well as you'd expect.
You gotta give credit to the guys that really commit to it, where they've gone, I've seen this, I've seen it on the internet. Not once has it ever worked, but today I'm feeling lucky.
NCR, shall we fire the starting gun?
Yes, we shall. I'll have you kick off the first question.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm opening the batting, am I?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. Unfortunately, I don't open the batting as well as Matthew Hayden. In fact, I don't even bat usually. So I'm usually the last one before the mate. Hey, I'm usually the last one before the roller.
I've seen your OnlyFans. I know how well you can bat.
Yeah.
That's where you reckon the sticky wicket comes from.
Ooh. Indeed. Now, question number one for you. So, the Nightcap Nation has become a bit of a gem inside the world of YouTube. But once upon a time, it was a very popular community radio show. So, why don't you tell the people, how did the show come about initially?
Oh, someone's done their research. That's a really good question.
I've had my cousins sort of snooping around from time to time. You know how the Italians work.
That explains the cement shoes out the front of the house.
Hey, you weren't complaining when that radio fell off the back of the truck.
No, that's I used to actually sort of start the show with, and we're coming to you live through those stolen speakers, and that was sort of how the show sort of got underway. It's very cultural the way that the Nightcap sort of developed, because I used to sit in and again, very country Australian thing to do. I'd sit in my shed, right, where I had a pool table. Most people will refer to them as a man cave or something along those lines. So we used to sit in the man cave and we'd have a few drinks and would listen to music. And I love music. I'm an alternate collector. I collect music from all around the world. And I would get really, really drunk and tell people, hey, shh, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. And then we'd play the song, and then we'd have a bit of a talk about the song or whatever and tell some jokes and all that sort of stuff. And it sort of came to pass, like, why are we just doing this in a shed? We should probably share this with some people. And I happened to just be, I was working for a hotel, a 5-star hotel at the time. And I went looking around to find places to promote the hotel. And I go into a local council building, and inside the building was a radio studio, a community radio studio called 3WBC in Box Hill in Melbourne. And I go in there and I see the radio and everyone's having fun in there. And I thought, oh, wow, community radio. I never really thought of this. That might be a good way to, promote the hotel. So I went and spoke to the station manager, and he's like, oh, have you ever thought about getting into radio? And many, many years ago when I was at school, I did work experience at our local radio station. I'm like, I really enjoy working on radio. And I started off doing community service announcements where I would come on air and go, oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, just remember this Sunday night, we've got a wonderful barbecue down there at the Lions Club's Hotel. Head on down there today. And, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I've got a voice that I can do pretty fun things with. I'll give this radio thing a go. And I spoke to I spoke to Parking Nick, the guy that does the Nightcap with me currently, and has done for many, many years. I was talking to him and said, hey, look, I'm going to do this radio thing. What do you reckon? And he's like, oh, you're going to have to put in a lot of work. You're going to have to do this. You're going to do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll do all that. And I'll get the gig. And I turn up to work for the very first night, and I got nothing planned, not a thing. And I'm like, I can just do this. And then I did it, and 17 years later, keep doing it. And when COVID hit, we went from being on radio to coming onto YouTube, and that's where the Nightcap Live came around. And then I wanted to fill in my weeks. Like, well, what am I going to do now? And hence what's it been, just over 12 months now of doing the Sovereign Citizen breakdowns and reactions and comedy. And originally I wanted to start off doing, proper videos. I wanted to do the actual, like what you see on, like real YouTubers do, where they tell you what laws they broke and all that sort of stuff. And I started doing that, and I just, my comedy kept slipping in, and all of a sudden the comedy sort of took the front role, and the video sort of took the back step there. And even if I do try and bring the video back to the forefront, a lot of people just want to hear the insults. They want to hear the jokes, and then I sort of realized people are just laughing now, and that's all that matters. People are just laughing, and if they're laughing, I'm laughing, and we're going to have a good time. And then I came up with the motto that it's all funny or none of it is. So I push the boundaries. I just go completely crazy. But the origin was starting off in a country shed, playing a game of 8-ball, drinking some beers, and going, I think we're funny.
I have a follow-up to that. I mean, you brought up that you transitioned from the radio show to YouTube due to the pandemic. How did you make the transition from a community radio show to YouTube? Did you find it to be somewhat easier, or was it hard, or what challenges have you come across?
the main challenge was letting people know where we were, because we had a pretty good following on radio, because we started off at WBC, we headed up then to 3MDR, and then down to Mornington for 3RRP. And so we were on these 3 stations, and I started doing little voice works for other radio stations, like commercial radio stations, like where I would, Riverina glass and windscreen, just, basic ads and stuff like that. And that wasn't my one, by the way. I'm just using that as an example. And when COVID hit, radio stations shut down. We went, because we all share microphones, we all share, the desks and studios and all that sort of stuff. And studios are, like, really good studios are climate controlled. So there's sully ports that you have to go through and all this sort of stuff, because it traps the sound, and you don't get outside sound, and the inside sound doesn't travel out. So you don't disturb anyone in another studio. So, if you were to cough in there, it would hang around. And in community radio, especially, there is like millions of old people. Like, it is God's waiting room. So,
oh my God, I know what you mean in terms of that. Like, because I do community radio in Sydney, and there are times where the mood in some of the stations would be best described as a morgue.
Yeah, exactly. Like, any more lively, a funeral is going to break out, and so you got to be real careful. And like, especially when the spicy cough became like a thing and everyone shut down, it was made like we didn't want to kill some of the original, members that joined the station when, Moses played fullback for Jerusalem. And we're like, okay, well, maybe we should try and keep these guys alive. And so I made the decision, what, I'm going to do this on YouTube. And like, if you go back and watch the very first nightcap on there, it was a black screen. We were using Zoom. There was no graphics. There was no music. There was nothing. It was just 3 people looking at the camera, trying to remember how to be funny without all the stuff that we took for granted. And I couldn't sit down and just stare at a black screen. I'm like, we've got to build on this. Otherwise it's not going to work. But like, we had a core group of people that used to come and watch all the time. And it wasn't until the other videos picked up where our global audience started going, oh, okay, well, not only do they do, well, not only does the captain do these videos, but, he's got a live show on a Friday, Australian time, and he's got 2 other people on there that all have fun, and there's music and there's jokes and there's, interactive chat and all that sort of stuff. So that's sort of how that progressed. But the biggest thing was trying to let people know that this is where we are, and then having zero budget to try and get the right gear. And, many, many nights I spent building graphics and designing graphics and what's known as sweepers, where, if you watch the Nightcap live, there's that transition where it says, welcome to the Nightcap question time, all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
there'd be a graphic to go with it. And, so that took a lot of time and effort and a lot of sleepless nights trying to get that right. And if you've ever seen any of my videos, you'll see that Nightcap Tavern, which is the brick building, which is now synonymous with the channel. That's our backdrop and all that sort of stuff. Well, I painstakingly built that brick by brick in a 3D rendering program called Blender. And so that's a full 3D model of a building. And I spent so long building that because we needed a place to call home. So I had to invent a place to call home. And that was it, So if you watch the entrance graphic for the Nightcap Live, it starts off looking at the hotel, the tavern, and then the camera zooms in and goes through the door and then into the corridor and around the corridor and all that sort of stuff. All that had to be built. Like, there's no template for that. That was just something that I had to sit down and do. And that was how the Nightcap Live stayed alive, I guess. And then I got into these other videos, and that's sort of, I try and balance the two now.
I mean, I totally understand that. That makes so much more sense to me because, again, like you, I buy my stuff, my sets. I have to build them. I have to, do the transitions for cutaways, or when I'm doing live streams, do whatever I have to do. So I understand how painful it is to.
And,
I mean,
and you go through different. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say the work he did building this studio is absolutely incredible. But you had a bit of a devil of a time trying to get the place clear because after we haven't been in here for about a month.
Oh yeah. You haven't seen this. I'll have to send. I'll send it to you on Discord. But me and Anthony, we left. The place was fucking immaculate. We come back last night to get the stuff set up for the interview, and Dwayne turned it into his own little pleasure palace.
Oh, no.
It's like Dad said something out of Leisure Suit Larry, the shenanigans that were going on in here.
I mean,
God,
there
Leisure
was
Suit Larry.
I mean, there was emus, drunk dudes, dogs watching strippers, VB long decks.
Pretty much sounds like a Friday night at my place. Yeah, no. That's
So did you leave the purple bikini?
That could be one of mine. If there was an Anne Hathaway knocking on a window staring in, then it was probably where I was.
I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised at all.
We did find a Catwoman outfit somewhere, but there were some questionable stains on it that I did not want to touch.
Now, hang on. Point of clarification on that. Was it the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman costume or the Halle Berry costume?
It was Anne Hathaway's Catwoman outfit.
Oh, Anne Hathaway's one. Okay. I got to say though, I did have a soft spot for Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Oh, I think so did she. Oh, yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, that looks about right. I've seen the picture now. Can't see Anne in the background there. Is that her on the pole? Could be her on the pole.
Could be her on the pole. I'm not sure.
She loves the pole. She loves the 3 C's to be precise. That's the certified Captain Cock, by the way.
Excellent. Well, we'll come to Anne Hathaway in a moment in that regards. But the other, I think there was one other follow-up NCR.
Let me see. We put up the question list here.
I think one of your ones.
Oh, yes. Now, you brought up Anne Hathaway. I have to ask you this.
Hang on, I brought up Anne. No, I think her parents did. I just came into the scene a little bit later.
Now, I hate to do this to you because you're a colleague, you're a fellow YouTuber. I consider you starting a friendship, so I hate to ambush you with this question, but
here we go.
But we've been hearing rumors that rumors that Emily Olsen and Hillary Duff have been fighting for your affections.
Oh, I was hoping you were
by sending you packages containing love letters and used underwear and selfies.
I was hoping you weren't going to bring this one up.
I'm sorry, but as a journalist, I have to ask you these questions. Now, is there any validity to these rumors?
Look, Hillary Duff and I, we go way back, right? We used to go kayaking down the Pierre Marquette River in Michigan back in the day. And we're going down the Pierre Marquette River. We're in a 2-person kayak. It was technically a 1-seater, but she found a very comfortable seat, if you catch my drift.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I expect nothing less.
Talking about my penis. Anyway, so yes, we're sitting. Well, she's sitting on it, and we're going down the Pierre Marquette River, and we were paddling along. And she's like, "Does this mean that we're going out now?" And I said, "Well, we're out together, aren't we? We're here today. Calm down, right? I can't just fuck off on you now." So, yeah, I guess technically you've got me on a technicality that, yeah, we are out together, if you're going to say it in that sentence. Anyway, she's gone full stage 5 clinger on me. And I'm like, fucking here we go. And everywhere I went, she was like my shadow with big tits. It was awesome, right? So I was okay with it because it was Hillary Duff, you know what I mean? Like if it was, I don't know, like fucking Olivia Newton-John's corpse, and then I'd be a bit more, stay where you are. But no, it's Hillary Duff. So yeah, you've got to put one up the Duff, if you know what I'm saying, right? So and the other Sheila, what was it like? I don't even know how to even get into this, right? We went paintballing together because she wanted to do naked paintballing, and I've never done naked paintballing before. So I've loaded up the goo gun, and I'm like, this is obviously what she's talking about. And she's like, no, you got to get that one out of the chamber before we go out for dinner with me parents. I'm like, oh, well, where am I going to fire this one off? I can't just shoot it into your fireplace. So we hooked up, and it was just at that moment of pure pure, like I think Willy Wonka said it best, pure imagination, as it was about to, take the Long Express there to Pleasure Town. Hillary Duff stuck her head in the window, going, "Hey, are we still on for a barbecue?" I'm like, "Oh, fucking here we go. This is going to be a thing." All right. So the long and the story is, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to comment on it.
Now, we did reach out to Anne,
Oh shit.
Hillary, and Elizabeth.
Oh shit.
I mean Emily, but and we got an email back from one of them.
She liked my one division, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
Well, this isn't Wanda Maximoff. This is you brought her up before, the Haley Joel Osment's sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So she
what was her name again? Can't remember it. It's written in my Rolodex.
she
Haley?
wrote
Is
us-
it her? Is that Haley? Hey?
it's Emily.
Oh, Emily.
Emily
Oh,
Osment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the girl I went fucking paintballing with. Yeah.
Okay. So she wrote back,
Oh, shit.
and I'm going to read what she wrote us.
Oh no.
Is it just a menu? Because she gets a bit silly sometimes. I don't think she can read.
In response to your query about me and the captain, all I can say is he's a perfect gentleman who knows how to work the back nine.
Certainly do. She's talking about her ass, though. She's talking about her bum.
We
That's my
have come down to an arrangement that is suitable for all of us, including
I
myself,
answer a call when I'm making
the captain, Hillary, and Anne. Anne will plan the days. Elizabeth will plan. I will plan the nights, and Hillary will provide the entertainment gear.
Yes.
However, the rumors that Miley Cyrus is a part of our coven is not true.
Yeah.
We
Good.
only, we only tricked her so we can pelt her with rotted hot dogs and broken Billy Ray Cyrus albums.
Excellent.
And you know what? She fucking digs that. She fucking loves that stuff. I didn't think she would, but here I am just throwing hot dogs at her. And it was a fucking great. If you want to kill an afternoon, throw hot dogs and broken Billy Ray Cyrus CDs at Miley. She fucking digs it. I never knew a Sheila to get off getting pelted by fucking CDs of their own father before. It was amazing. And you'd be surprised how many that she can fit on her nipples. Like she can fit three or four CDs on there.
Oh. Now, what a lot of people don't realize with sort of everything that's been sort of discussed already, and we're only 20 minutes into this show. We've covered a lot of ground here already. How good is this? Is that this is the very much the style of the humor that is Australian humor, and to the captain, a lot of people internationally don't seem to get how irreverent Australian humor has actually become. Now, how would you best describe it? And who and how people around the world should embrace that style of humor, because it's something they would never have experienced before.
No, and anyone that digs through any of the comments on my videos, especially where I've gone really out there with some of the insults and statements and stuff. But before I get in how the world's reacted type thing, the thing that I love the most, this is the thing that I really am in awe of. And I'll talk to you as the real me here for a sec. This is the part that really comes home. I receive so many actual emails and messages from people within the gay community, within the trans community, within religious sects, within people that have had strokes and people that have mentally challenged family members or mentally ill family members or mentally disabled family members, because I make fun of all of it. Because as I said earlier, it's all funny. All of it has to be funny, or none of it can be funny. And in saying that means you might find joke 1 funny, but joke 2 might offend you. But don't worry, because joke 3 will get you back and you'll laugh at joke 3. Meanwhile, joke 1 and joke 3 have upset someone else, but they've laughed at joke 2. And that's how comedy works, right? It's flavors of ice cream. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla, some like having their dick stuck in it. It doesn't really matter as long as you enjoy it as it's happening. Now, some people don't like dicks in their ice cream, and that's fair enough. They don't have to have a dick in their ice cream. They can have nuts in their ice cream if they want. so when I get these emails, and especially there's at least, I can think of the top of my head, 5 gay men that have sent me emails saying that they're so happy that they're part of the joke again. Because for a long time there, we weren't allowed to joke about anyone. We weren't allowed to make silly comments. And call it generational, call it educational, call it whatever you might. But the thing is the Australian, and you'd know in yourself, Anthony, the Australian comedy scene changed quite dramatically. You won't see another Rodney Roode do the cycle. You won't see another Kevin Bloody Wilson do the cycle. And you won't see another Cole Elliott do the cycle. But Cole Elliott, he was the pioneer. This is the guy that was writing blues songs when Kevin Bloody Wilson was still sucking on his mum's tits, right? And that was when he was 27, I think, when he gave up doing that. And then Rodney Roode came on the scene, and he just, I've worked with Rodney. I know Rodney very, very well, and the way that he does his comedy, and go and listen to some of his earlier stuff. This guy had nothing planned. He walked on the stage and just started saying stuff. And where he got his audience base was he was so good with his hecklers and his insults that it almost became a rite of passage. Unless Rodney Roode has called you a cunt, then you can't, sorry for my language there, then you can't say that you're an Australian male there.
Hey, just remember that it's perfectly acceptable to say that, except you can't say that in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. No, there's a whole song written about that. But if you go and listen to Rodney Dangerfield, right? Rodney Dangerfield was great on insult comedy about himself, right? And then Don Rickles, which was an American insult
I love
comedy.
Don Rickles. I love Don Rickles.
Now, in today's society, some of early Don Rickles' work is the most racial charged wording that you'll, misogyny. He bashed the gays. He did everything. And if you listen to him in today's modern standard, you'd go, fuck me, how did this guy ever become a comedian? Because he didn't care, because it was all funny or none of it was. He made fun of himself. He made fun of the Jewish community. He made fun of the African-American community. He made fun of whoever was sitting in front of him. He didn't care. It was all about, it's all fun, because you can't take this shit to heart. And
I can't agree with you more on this, because I don't know if you've ever seen any of them, but the Dean Martin roasts.
yes,
Dean Martin
yes.
celebrity.
Oh my God, I love them. I
Yeah,
love
you've
them.
got the Fireman's Club. Yep.
You've got Don Rickles up on the stage with Lucille Ball, and they're just tearing into each other.
Yeah, and that's what
to her about Desi Arnaz, and then her just ripping into him about being fat. It's just perfect comedy.
And that's where Jeff Ross started. It was called the Fireman's Club, which was like a special society of people that would get together once a month and celebrate each other by roasting the shit out of each other and telling jokes and picking at each other in a comedic way. And that's where Jeff Ross started. He was a member of the Fireman's Club, and then he learnt from people like Don Rickles. He learnt from people like Lucille Ball and stuff like that, how to take a joke and how to deliver a joke. And it comes down to timing. Like if I did a video where he's a dick, you're a dick, that's a dick, gays suck, see you later, then I'm not doing comedy at all. I'm just being an asshole. But if I go out and do it in a way that people know that it's a joke, like the way to tell a proper joke without offending too many people is if it can't be, and this is where I get a lot of people ask about defamation. Like, I'm ever worried about defamation. If I'm saying something that a normal person couldn't logically believe is true or factual, then it doesn't fall under defamation. It falls under comedy. So if I go up there going, Jeffrey Epstein, used to work at Area 51, and that's where him and Bill Gates developed the Zika virus. There's no way that a normal person could see that as factual. Therefore, I'm not using anything to create defamation.
It's like the incident that occurred with John Oliver on Last Week Tonight when he was sued for his comment.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob Murray.
Against, Bob Murray. Yeah, Bob Murray from the Cold. And Bob Murray slammed John Oliver. And see, John Oliver, same thing. He grew up in a time, and his comedy comes from, as much as he doesn't like to say it, he's learnt from people from the UK scene. He's learnt from people from the English comedy, where that's a completely different set of insults. And there's rhyming words and rhyming slang and rhyming insults that all come out from British.
More absurd and more absurdist as well in its nature.
Exactly. And that's why he can do it in such a way that you watch his show and he gets his point across, but he does it in such a comedic time and a comedic value that I know true well, okay, he has writers, he has a team of people and team of researchers, but he signs off on every single joke that gets said and he makes it a little bit more John Oliver-y in that respect. So they might come up with a joke going, and I want you to say, Bigfoot's dick smells like, burnt rubber and tire. And if we go, well, let's change the word burnt rubber and tire to something else. So the joke premise is there, but he might change the punchline to suit his style of comedy. Because he started up as a stand-up comedian as well. He did the circuits, he did Mock of the Week, he did all these sort of British shows before he came over to America and did the Daily Show. And that's where he started off in the American audience and got his American base because Jon Stewart gave him a chance. Jon Stewart, another great one, started off a Jewish comedian, learnt from Don Rickles. And that's, you learn from the person in front of you. And if you don't learn from the person in front of you, then your jokes are just going to be your jokes. But if you learn, like take for me, for instance, I've learned from Rodney Roode and I've learned from Cole Elliott, both in person and on the phone. And especially when I first started getting into doing stand-up, I said, what do you guys think of this joke? How can I make it stronger? How can I make it better? How can I? And if I didn't listen to the people in front of me, I would have been just sat here spinning me tires. Now they come to me. You see how the world can spin like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I might write a joke that I'll write a joke that isn't 100% the captain, right? So it would be funny, but it might not be as like it's not the punchline I want. It's not a delivery that I think I can get away with because it might be an obscure reference. But that doesn't mean that Cole can't use it. So Cole's got a character called Chuka, very similar to Terry. You talk to Cole, Terry and Chuka are actually cousins, and that's how Cole tells the story. So I'll give a joke that I think would suit Terry, but Chuka will take it instead because Cole's come to me and gone, hey, I need something to get me over the line here with a modern reference. So I'll write him a joke and go, well, you use this one, I'm not using it.
NCR, I think the next question is yours.
Yes. Well, it's a follow-up to this one. So, given the latest changes within the community's values today, what space is left for, let's just call it our brand of humor, the insult, guttural humor that we all have here?
Good question. If you had asked me 2 years ago, I would say the world wouldn't be as forgiving as it is 10 years ago. But this day, as in 2025, I've noticed that insult humor, when done correctly, is doing okay. Again, you got to pick your audience. Look at Tony Hinchcliffe when he went to the Republican National Party. Now, anyone that knows Tony Hinchcliffe, he does a podcast for the last 10 years called Kill Tony, where he allows anyone the opportunity to have 60 seconds on stage to tell a joke. Now, he's also an insult comic. He's also a stand-up insult comic. Good comedian, bad spot to be. So he's come out and he's done the Puerto Rican garbage island joke at a Republican convention that was nationally televised and then internationally broadcasted. Not the right place for that joke. Now, if he had said that at the Comedy Store in Austin, Texas, different set of people, different set of situations, different setup, that joke works. In a room full of people that have come to determine whether or not they're going to vote for the next president of the United States, probably not the best spot to be dropping a Puerto Rican joke. But that's the thing is this type of comedy can exist. Everyone watches the roast. There was one of Tom Brady only recently, and Nikki Glaser was on there, and she's one of the best female roast, or shouldn't even say female. She's just one of the best roast people of modern era. She's learnt from Jeff Ross, right? Jeff Ross, again, it goes back to the days of the Fryman's Club, and that's where the name roast comes from because it was done in the Fryman's Club. And then you got a British comedian by the name of Jimmy Carr. This guy
Yes.
is a killer. He just
Oh.
one after the other, bang, 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 bang. And again, another man that it's all funny or none of it is. He will make pedophile jokes about himself, and he will, say some of the stuff that you go, wow, how did he say that?
He's got some of the best pitch black humor you'll ever see going around right now.
For me, it's like Daniel Tosh. I mean, Tosh is the same way.
Yep.
Either it's all funny or it's not funny. Like you'll see him do jokes about his wife being a ballerina and hooking up with some comic skank.
Yep.
Then he'll go and do it like an abortion joke, or he'll do a dig on the crowd.
Yeah. I've written some jokes where I go, oh, maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I won't say that joke. So I'll bounce it off my soundboard and go, does it pass the sniff test, so to speak? Is this a joke for the sake of being a joke, or am I saying a joke now that may get people offside because it's too touchy of a subject? Right? I made a Steve Irwin joke on Australia Day. Now, if I did that to an Australian audience, I would have been, pepper sprayed and thrown out a window. But I still did it because it's all funny or none of it is, and the joke was simply, it's more of a pain in, it's more of a pain than Steve Irwin's chest. It's a very simple throwaway joke.
Very, very, very true, I might add as well. So
exactly. It's not factual. It's not like it's not true.
Yeah. That was a very big pain.
I can't sit there and go, so let me tell you about these Jewish fucks, right? There's nothing to go with that unless it's in context to something, and it's going to be done in a way that is going to be funny. Like I can't just say pick on a group of people for the sake of picking on them if there's nothing funny to back it up. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be a balance. Like I did on the show last night. There was a lady that talked in the comments where she has had a stroke, which has left her mute. Right, she can't talk, so she tries to type her comments when she's talking, and sometimes she can't type. So then she's got a program that helps her try and put words and that together, so she can write these comments. And I did a joke whilst she was watching the show last night about Gary Coleman. And I said, actually, speaking about that, Gary Coleman, you guys remember Gary Coleman, surely? Little actor. Yeah. So, he died. He had multiple bleeds on the brain, as everyone knows. He's had these multiple bleeds on the brain. The doctor did call it different strokes, but, it's a play on the name of the show that he was on and the way that he fucking died to a stroke victim. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, now if I just said, "Oh, strokes, well, sucks to be you," that's not a joke. That's just me pointing out the obvious. It's got to be funny. It's
kind of you being a dick there.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to bounce it through. Now, was it a risky joke to say? Absolutely. Did I know that she was going to find the humor in it? It was a roll of the dice.
Came up trumps.
I think that's the truth with all comedy. I mean, you're taking a chance with every joke. I mean, what's funny to you may not be funny to others, but you've got to take those risks. And that's what I respect about stand-ups.
Yes. And that's the thing. You've got to take these risks. Now, there was a strong chance that when I started doing insult comedy, and especially on the videos, that no one was going to find it funny. There was a very strong chance that people would have gone, this guy is just mean for the sake of being mean. And that would have been it. That would have been the end of it. But luckily, it went in the opposite direction. People went, oh my God, this is good. We can laugh at this again. Great. Yeah, a lot of people want to go off and tell some of my jokes at the workplace or to their family. There's one guy that jots the jokes down so he can, because he's a grandfather, he wants something to tell his grandkids so they can have a joke together, and grandpa comes across as the hero. Cool. Excellent. That makes me feel more happier than anything. I don't do this for money, and I don't do this for recognition or anything like that. I do it because I hope that someone's getting a laugh, and then they can share that laugh with someone else. Someone tried to tell me a joke the other day. That was my joke. I'm like, that's mine. I wrote that. That's my joke. But I didn't tell them that at the time because they were so excited to tell me a joke. I'm like, fucking tell me.
I mean, it's funny you brought that up, where people are showing it to their friends and their family, because I've actually my older brother has the exact same humor as you. I mean, he's big into the insult humor. So I'm like, hey, bro, you got to check out one of these videos. And I played him one of your videos, not of the nightcap, but one of your regular videos going after frauditors and self citizens. And he's just like, everything he's saying is factual. So he's digging it.
And so that's the thing, is like, that's what I enjoy, because that's now something that you and your brother share together, right? Your brother and you had a laugh together. And to me, that is, you can't put a price on that. You can't. That's just something that you two shared. That's your experience together. I just happen to be, part of it without even being there. And that means a lot to me. Knowing that that's happening, like, fuck, there's no bigger, nothing gives me a bigger erection except for maybe Hilary Duff and Anne Hathaway with Elizabeth Olsen throwing CDs at fucking Miley Cyrus. Apart from that, nothing else fucking turns me on more than knowing that people are enjoying and having a laugh together.
Now, I do have to ask this one as our next question, because this is obviously a big transition from yourself, especially given the previous work that you used to do. Within, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, within correctional services. Now, throughout that role in particular, you would have dealt with some pretty dark characters throughout your time itself. Not only that, but obviously the back injury that you had as well. So what role did humor take in terms of not only dealing with some of these dark personalities you often dealt with, but then getting you through that back injury?
All right. I don't share this very often, but you guys obviously, well, especially you, Anthony, would know the name Ivan Milat.
Ah, yes, of course.
Okay, Ivan Milat and I have had conversations on many occasions. I had to go through all of his case filings and crime scene evidence and photos of victims and things like that when dealing with him. I was also the guy that looked after Kevin Crump, who used to go off and just kill people because it was a really good thing to do. The guys that killed all three of them, the two Murphy brothers and Jono Murdoch, that killed Anita Kobe. So I got to deal with some of the top fighters in the Australian crime community, I guess. When I was in the prison system and when I did all that sort of stuff, you tend to live how you work, if that makes sense. So I became very non-trustworthy against not just the people that I worked with, but I didn't trust people in my own life. I didn't trust my friends. I didn't trust family members. My trust level just went down to zero. And I had the motive of nothing should ever shock me again, ever. I've seen the worst. This is how life is. So I never left myself open for new experiences. I just trapped myself into this world. Prisoners at the end of the day would go to their one bed cell with toilet and bathroom. I would go home to a one bedroom flat. The only difference was I didn't get locked in at night. I could go out if I wanted to. That's the only real difference that we had. So I would come home, I would drink heavily, go to sleep, wake up, rinse and repeat. I worked 6 days a week. I got into working in the drug intel unit. So I was working with the dogs. I was doing visit strip searches and things like that. And it wasn't until I came home one day and a friend of mine had come down. His name's Simon, and we were mates at school. And he's come to visit me now, and he's staying at my house. I've come home, and he says to me, "You either get out of this situation, or I don't want to be friends with you anymore." And that was the first time I sort of went, "Oh, fuck, maybe I'm the arsehole here." Okay, because he's very mellow. So many things that I did whilst at the prison system that he knew about. And it wasn't until this one day where he goes, "I just don't want to be friends with you anymore until you sort of change your perspective of stuff." And he goes, why don't you travel? Why don't you go overseas? Why don't you do something? So I signed up for one of those Camp Counselor USA things, right? So you travel over to America and work in a summer camp and all that sort of shit. So I'll give that a go. I've got to do something. And this was just a cheap, easy way to get out of the country, pretty much. So I left the prison system, got my passport, got all that, and I get a phone call from a lady by the name of Michelle. Michelle was the director of a place in Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan. A camp was called Pretty Lake Vacation Camp, and I was going to be working at a camp for underprivileged at-risk youth. They figured with my prison knowledge and stuff like that, I would probably be better than some locals to work with these kids. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just swapping one jail for another. Okay, whatever. Didn't mind. So I get on over there, and there's two camps. There's a place called Inpost, which was designed for kids between the ages of 8 through to 11. And then there was another camp that went from 11 to 14 years of age. That was Outpost, so Inpost, Outpost. Inpost had hundreds of kids and fucking 50 odd counselors and stuff that all worked there. Outpost, there was 12 of us. And I get there, this is day one. Everyone else had been to camp and learnt what camp was going to be about weeks before I got there. Right, so they did training programs, and this is how you deal with the kids, and this is what you do, and this is some of the songs that we'll sing, and this is what happens here and here and here. I arrived the weekend before camp started. They pick me up from the airport, they drop me off at Outpost, they give me a golf cart, and then they all leave. They all go. Now all of a sudden I'm by myself in a foreign country, not knowing anything. So I'm driving around on the golf cart. I'm just getting myself used to everything and all that sort of stuff. They arrive on the Monday. The kids are arriving on the Tuesday. Okay. Monday is the open day where parents can come and bring their kids and look around. And these fuckers were singing and dancing and, you know, all this shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I have made a terrible, terrible mistake. Because this isn't me. I don't sing and dance and fucking clap my hands. Go, oh, if you're happy, and you know, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, bite the bullet. You're here. It's not like you can run away. You're in the middle of nowhere. So you're going to just have to suck it up. And they give me my first group of kids, 11 kids. Out of the 11 kids, 8 of them are of African-American descent with mum or dad in prison. All right, this is the kids' last chance. They either smarten up a little bit at camp or they're going the right way of their family. And day one with these kids, I'm like, I do not sing. I do not dance. I'm not going to hold your fucking hand. You fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with you twice as hard. All right. So I gave them the prison speech. That was it. That was my prison speech. And about day, this is where it got me, right? This is where it got me. The kids went out and we were going to build a fort, right, out of sticks and all this sort of shit. And the kids were arguing with one another. And every time they built something, another kid had a different idea, and it was just a power play amongst the kids. And as they were fucking arguing amongst themselves, I pulled my knife out and I cut the rope that's holding up all the sticks, and they all fell down. I said, you either fucking switch on or fuck off. They're your options, all right? Either work together or you're all sleeping in the fucking cold tonight, because they had to build this thing to be slept in. All of a sudden, bang. It was almost like a switch went off, and these kids fucking got together. They built. And they won the competition amongst the fort, and that meant a lot. My kids had won. I'm like, beauty. And then they all come back into the cabin, and I can't remember. One of the kids did something, and I can't quite remember what it was, but I started to raise my voice, and this other kid came around and grabbed me around the guts and gave me a hug and goes, "It's okay. We're all here to work together." I'm like, "Oh, you little fuck." And then I realized these are kids. These are people. These aren't criminals. These aren't hardened criminals. They're kids. They want to have some fun. They want to enjoy their time. And all of a sudden, my walls started to drop. And everything sort of melted away. And by the next group of kids that came in, I was the one, okay, kids, so what song are we going to be singing today? What's going to be our motto here? I just was this different dude. I was just a completely different dude. And I was sitting on, and this is where I get the Pierre Marquette River from. I'm sitting on the Pierre Marquette River, and and I've never told this story. There is a dragonfly, and the dragonfly is going up and down the river. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it was doing. It was almost like it was pissing off the fish, right? It was just up and down in this one little zigzagged area. And I'm sitting there looking at it. All the kids are miles away and I'm just having a few minutes to myself. And I'm looking at this fucking dragonfly and everything fell into place of I'm never going to see this dragonfly again. I'm never going to be sitting on the Pierre Marquette River in this exact spot ever again. So why am I wasting this opportunity? Why aren't I doing something with it? And then when I realized this little revelation, I'm like, remember when you used to laugh at everything?
Yep.
Why don't we do that again? And that was when I went, fuck it. From now on, I've got to have no stress, no worries, and everything has to be funny. Got to find the joke in everything. That way life doesn't get too difficult again.
It's kind of like a coping skill for me. You know, I use humor in tense situations. Like I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, and they couldn't get the root out of the one, so the dentist is like, I'm not even going to charge you for it. It was a cash up front operation. So I come home, and there's my older brother. He's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I saved us some money. He's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, dentist said I had a real purty mouth. and his response was dead on perfect comedic timing. He's like, well, there's a fucking corner. Go make us some more.
But that's the, you've got to have humor about it. I remember same place, right? At Pretty Lake Vacation Camp. I lost my glasses. Down the river. I'm like, oh well, shit happens. Because by this stage, it's back to being happy again. I lost my glasses. I mean, no one around here has my prescription. I'm going to have to get that from home. And it was before email was a big thing. So I'm going to have to get this faxed, right? And I was going for a bit of a walk around at night. And with my glasses, if I haven't got glasses on at night, blackness, I get a lot of blackness where like I don't absorb light as well as I should, right? So I see a friend of mine with her flashlight, and she was on the other side of the campground type spot. I'm like, oh, I'm going to sneak up on her. I'm going to give her a spook. This will be funny. So I start running really, really, like I'm not the fastest guy in at any stage, but I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm making good time on my little run here to catch up this spooker. And next minute I know, it was like getting hit by a fucking truck. Something had just hit me like a bat across the waist, and I've gone fucking head first. The next minute I'm on the ground. I'm like, where the fuck am I? And what did I hit? And as reality sort of kick in, what had happened, I ran into the side of a really heavy picnic table. You know those picnic tables that have the chairs attached to them, the wooden planks?
Yes.
So I've ran right into the side of one of them at full speed, like at full gallop. And I've gone fucking head first, and I've fallen between the chair and the table itself. And I've fallen in, and now I'm under the table. And I'm winded. So it's taking the air out of my lungs. I'm laying there going, no one's going to find me until morning and I'll be dead by then. I'm breathing. I'm trying my best to catch my breath. So I started hitting the top of the table with my fist. So at least someone could probably hear the banging. And luckily enough, the girl that I was going to run up and scare could hear the banging, and she spun around with her flashlight and started walking towards me. Now, she's a former Detroit firefighter. She is 4'5". She's a big Texan woman, right? And she sees me on the ground and she's like, oh, shit, dog, because she's African-American as well. Oh, shit, dog. And she's pulled me out from underneath it. And no shit, she is fireman carrying me over her shoulders, right? So she's just lifted me up, boom, straight on her shoulders. Here's this 4'5" mammoth of a woman who is used to carrying people out of burnt buildings, dragging my ass into the light. And I'm like tapping her on the shoulder, trying to talk. And she's like, will you just shut the fuck up? I'm like, no. Because I can see everyone now gathering. And I'm like, I'm the hero, man. I'm the Aussie. The Aussies don't get hurt. We're the fucking, I'm Croc Dundee. I got a reputation to uphold here. And I'm like, I'm tapping her. I'm trying to whisper in her ear. She's like, what do you fucking want? I go, let me have my dignity.
So I have to ask, when she lifted you up to fireman carry you, did you start hearing "Love Lift Me Up"?
Love lifts me up where we belong. Oh, mate, it was like being carried by a small forklift. She was just a strong ox.
Are you sure it wasn't Serena Williams?
Oh no! Look, Serena's, she's what 6'7" or something. This girl's 4'5". Like and that was on a good day. She was a tiny. Kelly was her name, and worked for the Detroit Fire Department as an EMT, and she was just one tough woman. And I shit you not, like she drags me into the light. I'm begging for dignity at this stage, and I'm like literally now begging. I'm like, everyone's looking. They can just put me down. She still fireman carries me into the office. All of the female counselors are in there, right? So there's like 6 of them and a couple of the boys. She drags me in. She throws me onto the couch. She tells everyone to fuck. She pulls my pants down, right? I'm now full dick balling it in the middle of the office. And she just starts rubbing like fuck on my thigh, because she could tell that it was my thigh that has done most of the damage, because it looked like I had torn my hammy. And she is rubbing like a fucking machine, just like a piston.
Why does this feel like this is about to turn to a whole different story?
Well, I thought that's where it was headed. I'm like, there's people watching. And my two best mates, the other 2 male counselors, Hemi and Drew were their names. Now, Hemi was an African-American Texan, and sorry, that was Doug. Drew was a Texan, and Hemi was a Māori Kiwi, right? So he's from New Zealand. So all of us used to have a who's the stronger, who's the alpha competition with one another, right? And it was just a pissing contest amongst us boys. And we always had fun saying who was going to be the best and the strongest. And we're all good at our own individual things, but collectively we're fantastic as a unit. They've opened the door. Here's Kelly, and all they can see is pretty much my white ass on display. Kelly's on her knees in front of me on the couch, and all they can see is her rubbing, right? They don't know what she's rubbing. They can just see her rubbing. And they go, sorry. And they start to walk off. I'm like, no, it's not what you think. Here I am.
You don't need to say anything. You've won just then. You've won.
You've won. Yeah, I've won the comp.
Yeah, you've won. Put the glasses down.
I have to bring
he
something
loves the
up.
3 C's.
I have to bring something up, Captain. You brought up the fact that you were, in corrections. We actually found some footage of your training class.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think
is that where I flipped the cruiser?
I think people are going to want to see this. I mean, because it's pretty wild.
Scrawny beanpoles. Becoming a cop is not something that happens overnight. It takes one solid weekend of training to get that badge.
Forget about the badge! When do we get the freaking guns?
Hey, I told you, you don't get your gun until you tell me your name.
I've had it up to here with you, rebels!
What? No way! Wait, why is this wrong? Next to Miranda rights, I put Miranda has the right to a decent man who will help her raise her baby. Are these questions not about sex in the city? Lucas, why won't you tell me what kind of soda you like?
No! Ouch!
Okay, that's how it's done. Who's next?
That's me!
I'd love to go. I'd love to go. We'll both go. I'll learn.
I mean,
We actually
that
all
was-
still talk today, actually. We're all still really good friends.
that was
You were a stunt double. You were a stunt double in police academy, weren't you, Captain?
I was her thighs. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
He was gay and he wouldn't do the scene. He's like, no, I'm not having vagina in my mouth. I need some big, strong, certified captain cock. And I'm like, I got your back, big fella. Don't you worry. I'll take one for the team. I got no problem, big fella. So that's actually me in that scene. That like.
So you were wearing fake tits.
Yeah, absolutely. No. She was the performer. It was when the thighs come down over his face. That's me. That's my. Yeah. They're my thighs. Like they are my award-winning Texas rubbed-in thighs.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about
that
lady rubbing me thighs? That's why.
Yeah.
That type of stunt work. Yeah.
Damn, she works it well.
Yeah.
Could have been a physio.
You know what? I never ended up with one of those guns either, by the way. I did the full weekend too, which was a real shame.
Jeez. That's
I mean,
disappointing.
it's a damn shame. But I do have an actual follow-up to this.
Yeah.
Being who you are, having your sense of humor, what is something that is odd or crazy or something just funny that happened while you were a corrections officer?
Oh, fuck. There were so many.
Like to you, which like your number one?
Okay, we had an inmate. His name was, we'll call him Jason because that was his name. So,
And Jason D, if you're listening in, how you doing?
Yeah, it probably was Jason D, actually. Right. Jason was what we call a frequent flyer, right? So he was in and out quite a fair bit because he was just a fucking idiot. He owns the record. I'm not sure it's ever been beaten. He owns the record. I released him. Like, here's your shit, Jason. Get the fuck out of my jail. You don't need to be here anymore. All right. I released him on Friday afternoon. I came back into work Monday morning and he was there and sentenced. So he went out, committed a crime, appeared in front of a magistrate, and was sentenced within 48 hours. And this is what he did. He goes home. He's sitting at home and he's having a beer or whatever he is, and he's got his police scanner. This was back when you could listen to the police scanner here in Australia on the old analog network. So you could buy a scanner, and as long as you knew the codes, you could hear what was going on.
Very important on firework night.
Yeah, very, very important on firework night. Very, very important if you were a criminal back in the day too. So here's Jason. He's sitting at home. He's got his police scanner on. He's having a couple of beers, and he hears on the police scanner his name, and it says Jason is known to possibly have stolen a carton of milk. That was all the radio call was. Now, Jason, I don't know. He might have stolen the carton of milk. We don't know. That's the mystery to this very day. But why he ended up back inside my my fucking company was he heard this call and thought, well, I'll fucking show them. So he grabs his gun and he heads on down to the police station. And he kicks open the door of that police station, and pretty much I'll use sort of my thing. I say, listen here, you uniform wearing fucks. So he's kicked out the door of the police station with his firearm to plead his case of why he didn't steal a carton of milk. Now, that carton of milk became a secondary issue. The first issue for the copper that was working reception was, why have I got an angry man with a firearm in my office?
Jesus
Christ. So he was taken down, handcuffed really, really quickly, and brought in front of a magistrate later that night. They called one in and was taken back to Junee Correctional Centre, which is where I think he still is.
Oh, Junee. Hang on. Did you just say Junee?
Junee Correctional Centre.
Oh. Yeah. No, mate. That's where I thought the voice sounded somewhat familiar because, of course, we all know the greatest man to come out of Junee himself. No, mate. Ray Warren.
Oh, Ray Warren, yeah. But I went to school where Peter Sterling went to school, mate.
Out of Junee, out of good old Junee. Yeah. If you ever go
Peter Sterling was from Wagga.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, Junee. If you ever anyone goes down around Junee, of course they've got the Ray Warren statue out there now, which looks absolutely nothing like him, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. And there's Lorry Lake. There's Lorry Day.
Yeah, there is.
Lake, it's not a very big lake. It's fucking. It's about fucking a 5-meter diameter fucking pond.
Still worth more than anything in Canberra.
Yeah, well, it's
now we've gone through a lot of fairly heavy-hitting questions around that time. Time have a bit of fun.
Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. It's about time we did. And we're going to bring up the beloved Anne Hathaway. She's been a much valued member of the show. She's never actually appeared, but the value she brings has been absolutely incredible. Will she ever appear on a show?
I would really like it. I really, really would like it. She's obviously a very private woman when it comes to her and I together. Like, she's very private by that. She doesn't she thinks no one knows. So, that's got to keep that on the hush. But I would thoroughly let's just let's just say there has been a conversation with someone that knows how to get in contact with her PR company about whether or not Anne would like to stick her head into a video. I don't want to use AI. I don't want to fake it in any way, shape, or form. I want to have the real Anne Hathaway stick her head in to say hello. Now, which I think will be fucking even funnier. I reckon that would even be a lot funnier. I think that would be.
I have a slight follow-up to this question. Now, do you remember when Anne was promoting The Dark Knight Returns?
Do I remember? Fuck, she had me on retainer, mate. I was staying at every hotel that she was at.
Okay, so
I was on her rider.
the interview with, I think it was Access Hollywood,
Mhm.
where the guy was asking about, what underwear she was wearing underneath her outfit.
Yep, I remember that.
Now, is the rumors true that you threatened to throw him off the hotel roof?
Well, I ran, like, Kristen Bale and I are good mates. We used to go bowling together. And I said, hey, have you got any of those back grapplers that you used in the movie? And he's like, it's a prop, right? I'm like, yeah, but have you got any? Of course I do, says Christian. I'm like, great, can I borrow one? He's like, sure. There's no questions amongst mates. All right? It's like asking him to borrow $5. It's just nothing. So he's like, yeah, you got to bring it back though. I'm like, yeah, I'll look after it. Don't worry. So I grab his back grappler, and the bloke from Access Hollywood. You remember in the first Dark Knight where he Batman's hanging the dude from the roof with the back grappler, and he's like, swear to me. You know that scene?
Yep.
Yeah.
We reenacted that scene, me and that guy. But unlike Batman, I actually don't have any morals. So I'm like, well, guess who's never going to be seen again? And not only did I fucking smack him into the ground, I went downstairs and gave him a good old teabag across his forehead, like just really. And then I took a photo of it and sent a photo of me teabagging him to his mum. And she used that picture for her Christmas card that year. It's amazing.
Well, I'd expect nothing less, to be perfectly honest, in that regards.
Oh,
there.
Yeah. Well, you could see a little bit of the 3 C's in it. So she's like, I've got to show everyone this.
Oh, well, now, a follow-up to the follow-up in that regards there have been further rumors around of other people possibly appearing as a guest star, a certain A. White potentially appearing on the show at some point there.
She's appeared on the show before. She has been on the show.
Yeah, when are we going to see?
In
When are we
front
going
of
to
the
see
camera,
her?
should we say?
Angela White is who you're talking about. They're Australia's greatest.
Yes, of course.
Australia's
probably officially. I think officially now, Australia's second greatest export behind the Wiggles.
Yeah, just behind it. Like they normally share a stage. She normally opens for them.
Well, she get the dads to come.
Like literally, she opens for them. Angela White has been on the show, as well as Isabel Dora, or Dalta is the other name. Ron Jeremy, before we all found out what he got up to, he was on the show. I've never hid the fact that I've worked with inside the sex industry, never shied away from it. So I got to meet some of these wonderful people, and I've always found if you want to talk to someone, you just ask. Like if you don't ask, you don't get it. So if you ask, then they tend to, I think I've got Angela White's number here.
Now, I did get an email from Bonnie Blue.
Begging
us to ask you this question. She's begging on her hands and knees for us to ask you this. When is the captain going to appear on her OnlyFans for a review?
What again?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I was like, Bonnie, I'll ask him, but
well, look,
get up. This is a Christian family Minecraft server night here at the church.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that even an A380 looks tiny when it's flying over the Grand Canyon. You know what I mean? Like
this is true.
So she's what I call a boarder, right? Where you'd have to strap a board to your fucking ass so you don't fall in there. I do like spelunking though. Again, Christian Bale and I started doing that many years ago. So I'm pretty good at spelunking. So I might go and visit the caves. I don't know. I'll have to get my people to touch her people inappropriately and see if they'll touch each other. And if that happens, then who knows?
Standard practice.
Standard practice. Sometimes I just get my people to touch each other because I get bored around the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, funnily enough, and as a side to that, because of course, you having her on the show, I do remember the interview she did with Andrew Denton. I actually thought it was probably one of the best interviews I'd ever seen from Denton himself.
Yeah, and so this is the thing. Andrew Denton is a great interviewer. He can take it. He can lead you where he wants you to go, and I love that about an interviewer. And I've done my fair share of interviews. From Bob Geldof to Sarah Jessica Parker to Zac Efron. I've spoken with all these wonderful people. I've been to the Logies, and I had a fight with Rove on the red carpet. I like to have fun.
Oh, you had a fight with Rove? Outstanding.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know.
He and I literally don't like each other. So our fight wasn't a play fight. It was where you fucking going, you muppet? Get back here. That type of
Right.
thing.
So we're talking the same realms of Jeremy Clarkson and Piers Morgan.
Yeah. It's where there's that mutual respect because we're both in a industry. But there's no love there. So he tried to avoid me at the Logies, and he's like walked straight past me, and I've grabbed him by the arm, going, "Where are you fucking going, you muppet?" He goes, "Oh, I got to get up there." I go, "No, you fucking don't." And then I chased him up the stairwells of the Crown, going, "Where are you fucking?" And everyone, all the camera. It was the same night that the original. Well, they're not all together anymore. One of them's gone, but it was when One Direction performed at the Logies, right? So security was tight anyway. So Rose trying to run up the stairs, and I'm fucking chasing him with me cameraman in tow. Come, Rove, come back here, Rove, you fucking muppet. And he's like running up the stairs, like, I'm not having any part of this.
I have something I have to ask you. You brought up you spent time in Michigan, and now I know some people may not know your love of the music group ICP, or as they are properly known, the Insane Clown Posse. How did you first hear of them?
Oh, you know what? Very, very interesting. I have waited so long for someone to ask me this question because I've never had a chance to tell the story, but it's fucking awesome, right? It's not very exciting, but it is to me, if that makes sense. So I had a friend called Matthew, and Matthew had a tape player, and he had this tape, and all I ever heard was the Neon Game, right? That was the first from the Great Milenko album. That was the first thing I ever heard. Netting Game, sorry. That was the first one I ever heard. And I'm like, these guys are funny because it was funny because it was comedy. I'm like, comedy, great. It was just happened to be done in a rap. Comedy's good. This is good. I like it. And that was all I heard. And I go to I go and have a party at my place. It was like a bonfire night where I invited all my mates and we were burning a tree stump out, stupid things people do in the country. And this was 96. All right. So we got the tape player out, and I'm showing everyone this song. Like, fucking have a listen to this. This is funny. And I played it, and then I went off and did something else, and the tape just kept going. And I remember sitting back down going, who's that singing? And they're going, I don't know. There was whatever tape was in there. I'm like, this is pretty good, isn't it? And then I realized that it was more Insane Clown Posse stuff. I'm like, these guys are good. So I kept listening to the tape over and over and over. I'm like, fucking this one's all right. And then after that, I went off and got the Great Milenko on CD, and then because now all of a sudden I learned about the Joker card collection, like how they are doing an album per thing, and how every album was going to be themed around that one character. And to me, that was a good story, and I love good stories. So I'm like, okay, well, now I need to collect it. So I went back and got the previous 3 cards, and then I collected the Amazing Jackal Brothers, followed by the Wraith, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now I've got 6, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, now we're going to do another set. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. So I started collecting that set. And what I loved was halfway through the Amazing Jackal Brothers, I said to a mate, we're both enjoying ICP. I said, wouldn't it be fucking funny? Listen to how these guys are talking. I guarantee that these blokes are religious and they're just keeping it to themselves. And then, sure enough, last song on the Wraith CDs where they talk about truth is they follow God. And I went, fucking told ya! I picked the twist.
And it's kind of similar to me on how I got involved with ICP. I heard about them, with the controversy with, them being signed to Disney's CD label. And Disney didn't know about it at the time. They're like, we just got $1 million from them, cancel their fucking contract. And then the whole thing with Sharon Osbourne, and Cold Chamber.
Yeah, and then Jim Cornette, and because the ICP performed for WWE back in those days, it was WWF. They performed the Odysseys theme, and they actually wrestled 2 televised matches for WWE back when the Great Milenko was doing its thing. Yeah. And they were signed by Disney. And then once Disney, like Michael Eichner, who was the head of Disney at the time, went, you guys need to fuck off. So they developed their own label, the Psychopathic record label, and then, just took the world by storm after that.
Now, for me, like when I first found them, it was like literally the day after my 17th birthday. I'm getting ready to go to the mall. I've got my Discman, and there's just a random black CD on the entertainment center. Not in the case, it's just the CD. So I just go in my brother's room. There's my little brother, my older brother, my cousins. I'm like, oh, whose CD is that? Like, I don't know. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So it just fucking magically appears in my fucking house. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. So I go out and buy some more of their albums. But I have to ask you this as a follow-up.
Please.
Would you call yourself a juggalo? And have you done a Faygo shower?
I have done a Faygo shower. I have. And I like, we don't get Faygo very often here in Australia. You gotta really find it, right? It's you find it in the most obscure spots. I've spoken to Shaggy on the Nightcap. I've had him on the show, and you may know this already, but Faygo fucking hate him.
Oh, yeah.
There is no love between those two people. But it doesn't matter. They always see people just keep doing what they want to do. So they can't bring it into the country whenever they come over here. But I had, because I had interviewed Shaggy previously, leading up to their concert in 2013 here in Australia, I was given press passes to go to the show. So I was actually given backstage passes to go behind the stage and talk with them as well. But as I went behind the stage, and they're all like all the other guys setting up their gear for the show, this dude with no neck, I just remember this man Mountain, who I'm sure was just finishing eating a small pygmy child, had just turned up and goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to go and see the boys. They know I'm coming." "No, you're not." "No, I'm not, actually." I'll just turn around. But I got to go into the press pit, and here's all these guys with their high fancy cameras and shit. Now I got my iPhone, and they're going, "Why have you only got your iPhone?" I said, "Have you never seen one of these concerts?" Like, there's no way I would have bought 10 grand worth of camera equipment with me, mate. It's not going to survive. And he made it halfway through song 1, and he fucked off. I'm like, dude, you have no. But yeah, I got feathered and everything that night, because I was the only one in that media pit, so they just fucking covered me in shit, just head to toe, and it was the greatest moment of my life. And then I got to go up on stage and hang out with them on the stage and stuff, which was great.
Now, you know why Faygo hates them, but why they love it, right?
I know that it's a cheap. I don't know the full story. I just know that it's a relatively cheap Michigan drink.
It's not just cheap in Michigan; it's cheap all over.
Right.
And it's because both Jay and Shaggy grew up poor, and
right, yeah,
Coke, Pepsi, all the high, the higher known brands, they are expensive. Like for a 20 ounce, like almost $3 a bottle. Well, I can get a 24 ounce of Faygo for $1.
Fuck yeah! And see, it's the
I
opposite.
get a 20 ounce for 60 cents.
Fuck, man. Like it's literally the opposite here. Like if you want to go and get a Coke, then you're looking about $4, $4.50, right? Australian. If you want to go and get a Faygo, you're looking about $6 to $7 because it's an import. Like we don't, and again, it's very hard to find.
Oh, you're gonna fucking hate me because of this. I don't live that far from Michigan, and I can get cases shipped to my house for like $10.
Can you get it shipped to my house?
I don't know if they do international. I'll check for the website for you.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Because I remember when there was a place called Kiwi's Corner in Kalamazoo, and he had Faygo, and I just remember almost falling over backwards when I saw it in real life. I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen this. I thought this was just a made up drink. I thought you guys were lying to me, but no, it's a real thing.
No. Faygo is one of the oldest soft drinks in America. I think it's been around since like 1904.
Fucking hell. That's longer than me.
Yeah. Indeed. Now, Captain, we know that you've become famous worldwide, an absolute sensation.
The world.
Absolutely love it. Was waiting for that to come in. Now, you've become famous worldwide for your videos absolutely ripping and tearing into soft sits and just general idiots on YouTube. throughout your entire time, give us your top 3
My top 3.
soft sits that you just want to rip in on all day.
Oh, well, first and foremost, Josh Abrams, fucking accountability for all. I have challenged him on many of occasions that I will come over to America and we will do a charity boxing event. I will fucking pay for my own flights, the whole kit. I will come over. He can choose the venue. He can choose fucking the ounce gloves that we wear. He can choose everything. But I will box him in the ring. And if I win, he fucks off. If he wins, I'll never bother him again. But he has to accept that challenge, and any fucking money made goes to a charity of our choosing. Right? He can't just choose his own charity. It has to be a charity that we both agree on. Something like, maybe the LA fires or something along those lines. So something where I know that the money's going to go to people that need it. It's not going to go to a fucking mate of his.
It's not going to go. It's not going to go to growing more eucalyptus trees in California.
No, that's right. It's not going to go down to counselling for his poor wife that has to cry in the shower every time he has.
Why the hell's the Randy Koala outside my window?
Is that koala from Adelaide at it again? Is he?
Oh yeah, fucking go with that thing. Full of chlamydia in their drug addicts. They sleep 23 hours a day because they're fucking high as fuck on eucalyptus. They are drugged. I had a koala steal my TV the other day. Like, where are you going? Oh, just going to buy a fucking... Like, dude, eucalyptus is free.
Of course, the story of the rogue koala just wandering into some Brazilian couple's house and then decide, I'm just going to go for a casual sleep on your bed. When you want to come in, let's go. Like the Brazilian couple's looking at them just going, I'm not touching you. You've probably got fucking chlamydia on you.
Yeah. Dear Penthouse Premium. Here we go. But yeah, Josh Abrams, he's another one. Chile. Now, fucking Chile. I think
no one wants to do that.
No, not even his mum, and she's blind and deaf and dead. He keeps saying that he's building this game. Like, I'm building this ball game. No, you're not. You've not, because you're a fucking idiot and you don't know what you're doing. You are, and I've got access behind his little paywall thing there, right? And I had a look behind his paywall. He's building a training facility that he is going to use for educational purposes to train other fuckwits to go off and do his bidding. Right, he's got what he's called his police academy area. He's got his fucking law scholar area where he's going to go through all the justices of the Supreme Court. He's going to go through everything. It's a school that he's building for fuckwits. It's like a special school, but instead of actually mentally challenged people, he's just got a bunch of fucking retards that are all going to go there. They're all going to be licking the schnozberries together because the schnozberries taste like schnozberries, and so. He's dangerous. Like, he is beyond stupidly dangerous. So it's not just a case of him being an idiot frauditor or a sovereign cit or whatever. He's just literally dangerous. He's now, in my opinion, he's crossed the threshold into crazy. To the fact, even when the LA fires started off, he was down there handing out fucking trifolds on the day that the people were being evacuated. What are you fucking doing? That's not the time to be handing out your bullshit.
Never forget the grift. That's his motto.
Exactly. So he's out there grifting, and he's there smelling, fucking fingertips because he loves that. Have you ever seen him? He goes up to people and he's like, I just noticed that you were scratching the inside of your asshole. Do you mind if I have a quick sniff? And they're like, get away from me, you weirdo. And he's like, no, look, I'll give you $50. And they're like, oh, well, $50 for you to smell my fingers. I guess that's all right. So they take the $50 off him and he sits there and he fucking sniffs the poo-stained fingertips. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is all right. And then he goes home and films himself jerking it to fucking mutilation porn, which is weird in general. Like, I don't kink shame anyone, but he watches mutilation porn. Like, you can only find that on the dark web. That's where they cut extra holes. And
I've heard as well, he's doing that while he's greasing himself up in Nutella as well.
Oh yeah, he loves the Nutella. Loves it. It's to him like any reason to get nuts in his mouth, he's all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially hazelnuts.
Yeah, he knew a guy called Hazel. He's like, oh, this reminds me of my days back in the jail.
No. You got to remember. It was Hansel. It was Hansel.
That's right. I do get those confused. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Long Island Auditor, I'd like to see launched in, put into a rocket and then just fired off into the sun. I don't think he believes his own grift though. I think he knows that it's click for cash, and so he's not 100% sold on things. That's why he hasn't been arrested for a while, because he just knows that this is getting expensive.
Well,
But,
I think it's more than that. I think he's like borderline believing his own shit.
Yeah. And Kansas City Auditor, he's the other one. And his minions came after me one day, and I really enjoyed that. I had a great time with them. But here's another dude that I can't wait to read his eulogy so I could have a good laugh at it.
It'll be a very short one.
It'll be extremely short. It will just be Kansas City Auditor was not alive this date. And that will be it. That will be the eulogy.
Now, are you familiar with the current controversy that's going around right now on YouTube?
Which one?
Involving a particular frauditor who is going after multiple channels because of his shitty behavior.
Which one?
Yeah. Is this
Cult News?
No,
The Cult News incident?
No, I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'll try and stay out of other people's fire unless it comes to me. But yeah, tell me about it.
He actually is in some hot water right now. He's trying to shut down as many channels from sharing a particular video.
Because is he balls deep in a goat or something?
No, on New Year's Eve of last year, he got kicked out of a hotel for trying to fight the staff, a guest, and is throwing out the N-word with the hard ER.
Oh,
even I don't even use, not even I use the N-word.
Okay. So
I've been given a few passes. A few people have gone, you can do it. Yeah, we'll give you a pass. But I'm not sure if those passes are transferable internationally.
I don't think so either, man.
No.
So what's going on is the video got out. He uploaded it to YouTube. He started getting some bad hate, kills the comments on it, unlists it. One of the security guards had the link, posted it on Reddit. A bunch of us got our hands on it. We put out videos, and now he's trying to keep us from talking about it.
Oh, send it to me. I'll have some fun with it.
Oh, that's going to be dangerous.
I want people to come after me. I do. I really. I don't know what more I can do to get their attention. I know that they know I exist, but I think they're all a bit scared of what I'll do to them verbally.
Here is some of the shenanigans that he has done.
No.
Hold on. Do you want me to do it proper?
Yes.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. Shenanigans.
Thank you, Reginald.
I used to go to school with that guy.
Yeah, you remember him, Brigadier Reginald of the Emu Army.
Hey, I remember him. A good bloke. Yeah. Good to see he's doing well for himself.
So here's what he has done: a channel with only 5, like very small, like 5 subscribers, maybe more now. He goes and hits this channel with a fucking privacy complaint.
Boom.
Oh dear.
Goes after me for copyright infringement to the point where YouTube's like, it's so vague, we don't believe you. Then went after Blackheart Knight's channel after he mirrored my video and edited it down from my length to like 19 minutes. Hit him with a false copyright strike, and they denied it.
Mm-hmm.
Goes back to me with a privacy complaint, claiming my whole video from the beginning to the end, including my own commentary. So he's saying my voice is his privacy.
Well, you are AI, aren't you? That's what I heard.
Oh no, I'm totally
You're a
alive.
sex robot
Totally
sent
real
from
person.
the future. Yeah.
Sex robot?
No.
No. Sex machine, yes.
No, we should clarify. NCR is actually that Florida Mall alligator that got RKO'd a couple of years ago.
And it was not me, although that
Boy.
fake alligator was related to Wally's cousin once removed.
Oh, Wally. I remember Wally. I
Yeah,
went
Wally
looking
the
for him
emotional
once, couldn't
support
find him.
gator.
No, that was Waldo. Sorry, I'm going.
Now, a special one for you, Captain. You've made recently. You've made the move out of South Melbourne, and I got to say, someone who goes down to Melbourne for work from time to time, there, South Melbourne's a beautiful part of the world. There,
It is.
right around there. Great place there. You've moved up to the countryside of Victoria. You know, it's a big change. You're now documenting through your other YouTube channel. Now, first part of the question is, how's that lifestyle change gone for you? And the second part, can we expect something along the lines of Clarkson's farm being replicated by yourself?
Well, minus all the animal sex, probably.
No, that's David Cameron.
Oh yeah. Nothing wrong with putting a bit of a. Oh, look, we've all put our penis in a pig at some stage, haven't we?
Yeah.
We just
Bill Clinton has.
and he still does, from what I hear.
Oh, yes, indeed.
But I've got to do some more videos on the other channel.
Don't talk about Hillary that way.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I didn't know you were listening. I hope you're doing well, Mr. President. Thanks for the dress.
You couldn't get the stain out of it, though?
Didn't want the stain out of it, mate.
Aha.
and needed some target practice. Look, I grew up in the country. I grew up in a town that only had 210 people. So I joined the Royal Fire Service when I was 11. So, you know, living in the country and all that sort of stuff is kind of my thing. And then when I went to America, I lived obviously in Kalamazoo out into the forestry area of Kalamazoo. So again, that was country. And then moving to Melbourne, now that was the shock. That was the big shock of things. I'm like, fuck me, this is crazy. But I learned to navigate it. And I learned to get my way around. But I was chomping at the bit to get back. Chomping at the bit, there's another good little Australian saying for you. So you're excited to do something. So excited to get back to the country. So coming back here and living in this town, it's not very, very big. We're probably, maybe 3,000 odd people that live here. So it's good. It's a good community spirit. I've already been approached by the guys in the local fire service if I wanted to come and join them. And I'm like, I can't really commit to that right now. But, everyone jumps in when something like that happens. Like there was a fire down the road here not that long ago, and all of us jumped in. Well, it's just what we do. It's a country thing. So the community spirit, and I have a young daughter who's 11 years old, and I wanted her to have that country experience. So, the last few days we've been building a chicken coop. So we'll be getting some chickens, and they all appear on my other channel as we get them, and all that sort of stuff. But I think using the captain jokes and humor, I should be able to help translate some Australian knowledge and survival knowledge that I've learned as I pass it on to my daughter, but it can also hopefully introduce an international audience. Like there was a photo, like a video I did of, I called it a huntsman. It was actually a wolf spider. That was on one of my sheds, and that was it should have been about 10 centimeters in diameter, I reckon.
Decent.
Yeah, she was a good size, and that was a baby. So being able to show someone, hey, this is one of those spiders that if they bite you, will hurt you. The wolf one wouldn't kill you, but it'd hurt. But last 2 days ago, I brought this up on the show. 2 days ago, I was cleaning out some carpet and stuff from one of the sheds, and 3 redback spiders in quick succession ran up my arm. Now, if one of those spiders had bit me, I got 17 minutes. So having 3 of them run up my arm, that was, I forgot that you bastards live up here. So I sort of gave them a flick off the arm. I'm like, I haven't got time to document this one. I'm just going to get these fucking things off me. Because those ones, not only when they bite you does it hurt, but it hurts the entire time that you die. So
Yeah.
you fuckers off me.
And for those wondering, the 17 minutes, it's the venom of a redback spider actually moves very slowly in your body.
Yeah.
So they actually say that the best thing you could do to stop the flow of the venom is to not actually apply a pressure bandage, but to actually apply ice.
Ice, yep.
Yeah.
Ice and elevate. So you want to get the bite injury above your heart.
Yeah.
Because that way it takes a longer time. Because the way, obviously, once it hits the stream, once it hits the heart, that's it. She's in the highway and off she goes. But it's getting to the heart down the vein or through the muscle tissue that takes the time. Because what happens is when they bite you, they bite into your muscle tissue or your fat tissue. And if it gets into your fat tissue, which is the first thing it gets to, is then the venom then spreads and soaks into the muscle, and then from the muscle into either a vein or an artery, which then takes it into the blood supply. But as Anthony said, because it takes so long to absorb, if you act within inside that 17 minutes with ice and elevation, then you're buying yourself some more time. If it was a funnel web spider, for instance, I've got 4 minutes. Because that goes pretty much straight into the bloodstream, and that's it. Time's ticking. We've got king browns that live here as well. That is the 5th most dangerous snake in the world. We have tiger snakes that live up here as well. That is number 7 on the list. So where I live, literally in my backyard, there would be about 12 to 15 different insects and stuff that will try and kill you and succeed if given the opportunity.
Yeah. When we say, when you live in Australia, live life in hard mode, we're not kidding.
Yeah.
We're genuinely not kidding.
I've been bitten by a redback before. I was about 15, I think, when I got bitten on the hand. That's normally where they get you. I got bitten on the hand by a redback, and I lived 45 minutes from the nearest hospital. So that was an interesting trip. I got very, very sick very, very quickly. And I'm fortunate that, especially in modern times, like these days, because a lot of people go, oh, you're bitten by a snake, we better catch the snake. Don't catch the snake. That's silly, right? Someone else is going to get bit. He's done what he needed to do. He bit you and ran away. So don't worry about him. Modern hospitals, modern Australia have any venom of broad range. So it doesn't matter what bit you, they'll have any venom that they can cycle through your body, because anti-venom, no matter what they hit you with, it doesn't matter which anti-venom they hit you with, it's not going to hurt you. So if the first one doesn't work, the second one will. If the second one doesn't work, the third one will, because it reacts very, very quickly. So they know real quick, so you don't have to try and work out what fucking bit you. You just know that you've been bit because you start feeling sick. But when I got bit, that wasn't a thing. I knew it was a redback, so they knew what to hit me with. But if we didn't know that it was a redback, then time was going to take a lot longer to figure out what I was hit with.
Now, I have to ask you this, since you brought up the outback and Australia's most dangerous creatures. Now, I need you to answer this. Is it true that you and Parking Nick got into a 24-hour long fist fight and drinking competition with a kangaroo on top of Ayers Rock?
I don't like talking about that because the kangaroo won.
Right? Which part did he win? Because
both.
I mean,
both.
Oh, both.
Yeah, he was a heavy drinker. He was a real pisshead too, actually. And it was Skippy. You've heard of Skippy?
Yeah.
It was Skippy's cousin, right? Skippy doesn't like talking about his cousin because he was a drug addict for a bit, but he got himself clean. And so we're sitting on Ayers Rock, Parkin and I are chilling out there. We're just relaxing, not doing anything. We're just fucking taking it all in, right? And originally we went there to go fishing, but we didn't know there was no water. So that makes sense considering it's the middle of the desert, eh? So we get up there and we're just chilling out, having a bit, we threw the lines down anyway because we brought them. Can't let them go to waste. So I threw the fishing lines in. And this fucking stupid, fucking dopey kangaroo comes topping over. Fellas, how are you? We're like, oh, fucking this guy. Here we go. Yeah, mate. Would you like to get into a bit of a drinking competition with me, would you? Well, I don't know why you've got a British accent, but sure, why not? So we tied one on with him. And after a while, we're like, why don't we try who can fight each other the best? So me and Parkin threw punches at each other for a bit, but you know, we're both pretty much even on that. And the kangaroo's laughing. He's just laughing at us. And we're like, fuck you, you red fuck. And so I throw a punch at him. And that was stupid. That was like the worst decision I've made. And I've made some bad decisions, right?
In fact, I think we've got a photo
you probably
of said kangaroo. We were doing a little bit of digging, actually, in terms of this NCR. And I believe we've even got a name of him.
Yeah.
I believe it was Roger.
Oh, Roger. Oh, yeah.
Oh, let me pull this up here from
Rog.
From Discord, because this is.
I know, yeah, well, obviously, I know Roger got into a fight with him. And you'll see why I lost the fight, by the way. When you see Roger, you'll understand why I lost this fucking fight.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's.
Parkin still won't talk about it.
Roger's a big boy.
Yeah, he is. And Parkin won't even talk about it anymore. If you bring up Roger's name in conversation, he leaves. He just packs up and goes.
Yeah. Now the other question I've got to ask you, given you're from South Melbourne, you and I have something very much in common here. Of course.
Sydney Swans?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We are proud bloods, aren't we?
We are. Sydney
proud
Swans.
blood.
AFL team. Yep.
Jesus Christ. I mean, no wonder you lost the fucking fight.
Yeah, there's Roger. There's Roger.
There's Roger.
There he is.
Yeah.
And that's mine too, that piece of tin.
He stole your bucket.
Yeah, that was my bucket. Well, I was going to put my fish in it. That was his trophy. He told me that was his trophy, so he just took it.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. I can't argue with that. Once a kangaroo wins the fight, you can't argue with them. They've won. They're the alpha. You're like, fair enough, mate. If you want the bucket, you take it. That's you've earned it.
Now
he doesn't know this though, Anthony. You don't know this either. Neither does Roger. I went back to Roger's little fucking den, by the way, and I fucked his wife.
Ah, good man.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Now you have very much embraced Blood's culture here, and I absolutely commend you for it. And it's the only way to really go. That raises a very important question: how come the rest of the family haven't joined you with Blood's culture?
They're doggy supporters.
I know.
Yeah, because
what's going on there?
Because I originally I lived in Sydney when I was a youngster, and we used to go to the SCG all the time. And I followed my old man because my old man was a footy coach back in the day. And this was back when Ron Barassi was still the coach for him. And
back in the day when Paul Kelly would have been playing for them.
Oh, before Paul Kelly. But
wow.
I'm talking back in the day when you had Dennis Carroll as the captain. I used to go swimming in Dennis Carroll's pool many, many years ago. And I went, like, Paul Kelly, Peter Sterling, both went to St. Michael's High School. I went to the same high school as those two. But yeah, Paul Kelly would come home quite a fair bit. Actually, I learned how to kick a footy from Paul Kelly and Dermot Brereton. They did an Oz kick thing for my school. And they all turned up. And so Paul Kelly and Dermot Brereton were learning how to kick footy. Well, they already knew, but they were teaching the rest of us.
That would have been absolutely awesome. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they're supporting the Bulldogs, I mean, come on. I mean, at least I managed.
One of their uncles or whatever played from back in the day.
Yeah.
So I get that. But she doesn't realize that one of her actual uncles, one of her great uncles, Hylett was his surname. He actually played for the Swans.
Right, back in the day.
So her father actually is a Swan supporter. So my father-in-law is actually a Swan supporter. So that's all right.
Yeah. Fair enough. Look, we'll forgive, but you and I, at some point we are when you're up in Sydney, definitely got to go to the SCG.
Oh shit, yeah. I'll be there.
Mate,
I am so lost. I am so lost on this one.
Oh, don't worry.
It's pretty Aussie culture, that one.
Yeah, very, 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 very much Aussie culture here. Now, last question, NCR. I think you've got it, and you wanted to ask something about Parking Nick and Secret Agent Ness.
Yes. I wanted to know, how did they become a part of the show? How did you meet? How did you convince them to join you on the radio show and the Nightcap Nation for YouTube?
Right. Okay. So I've known Vanessa, or Secret Agent Ness, the longest. So her and I worked together at a bowling alley. The bowling alley was the very first job I ever had whilst I was still at school. Right. So I worked as a technician. She worked reception. The one that gave you the shoes and turned on the lanes and all that sort of stuff. So I became good friends with her and her partner at the time. and I would stay at their house, and we just became friends and stuff that way. And when I left town to go and work at the prison and all that sort of stuff. So we sort of just stayed in contact, like texting and letters and shit like that. Because this was before Facebook and all that sort of shit. And then I moved to Melbourne. I started working in the security industry here in Melbourne, and worked for a parking supervisory position in the same control room as I did. So he wasn't in security. He would run boom gates and all that sort of shit from a control room. So, when you go to a parking bay and you have to pay for your ticket, and if you needed help, you press a button, it takes you through to a call center, and someone looks at you through the camera and helps you out. Well, that was pretty much what he did. And then he became a technician and stuff. So that's how I met him. And then obviously I left the security industry and went into the hotel business there for a little bit. And that was leading into the radio stuff. And as I said, parking was the first one I rang and spoke to about it. But we lived miles from each other, and he couldn't come to the station. So I actually had other co-hosts at the time, a guy by the name of, his nickname was Mr. Irish, and we had Miss M. And they were the two people I did the nightcap with. And over time, they got older and they moved on to have their own lives and all that sort of stuff. So I was sort of between, people would come in and rotate through and give me someone to bounce off to tell jokes and all that sort of stuff. And then when I got to 3RPP, parking moved to the same area I did, and he became a regular on the show. So all of a sudden it was him and I, and we would rotate different female guests to have someone to bounce off. And then one day I was looking on Facebook and I found Vanessa, and I'm like, oh shit, remember when and like we reconnected that way. And she lived in South Australia, and that's where SA comes from. So she was originally known as SA Ness, as in South Australian Ness. But then she moved to where we were living in Mornington, and her and parking hooked up and became lovey-dovey. And she would come in and do the show and stuff. And then I'm like, well, you may as well just be a regular host with us now. So we changed the name because she now lived with us to, we needed something to do with the SA. So we just turned it into Secret Agent. So Secret Agent S and Parking Nick. So now they live together and all that sort of stuff. But I had known them separately from two different times of my life. So I'm the nightcap in general, the nightcap for the last 17 years, have created 5 married couples and 13 children.
Decent.
Very
decent.
Pretty happy that 12 of those are mine. Yeah.
Now remember, folks, if you want to start a family, listen to the nightcap. Listen to the captain.
You've got to come over.
He'll give your wife the lessons she needs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let's face it, there are the two most arousing things you could ever do in your life is A, watch Scott Boland bowl perfect line and length, and B, go check out the nightcap.
Two great options. I would go listen to the nightcap first, though. That would probably be the best one.
Yep. Mate, Scott Boland line and length is not bad either.
I'm gonna nod and smile and go, of course, mate. Because I'm gonna pretend I know who that is and stuff.
But no, it's a great show. And look, Captain, an absolute pleasure to have you on here. What an interview it's been. And, mate, looking forward to the next installment of the Nightcap Nation.
No, well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me, guys. And honestly, the NCR News Network, your channel is absolutely phenomenal. And obviously, the podcast that you guys do together with shit towns of Australia and Florida and all that sort of stuff, absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of you guys. I'm a fan of you.
Like that's high praise coming from you, because I found this, the nightcap through Anthony and several others in our little community, and I fucking love it. And you're just Parking Nick, Ness, just all fucking phenomenal, just killing it. And to get praise from you, sir, it's high honor.
Well, no, it is, because what you are is you're genuine, and that's all you need to be, right? You're your style of content creation, obviously very different to how I do things, but you do what I wish I could do. I haven't got that sort of talent where I can break it down into that style. I've got to make it the joke where you take it into this whole, not only do you make it funny and entertaining, but you keep it, knowledgeable at the same time, which is great.
I mean, it's like you said earlier, you wanted to be like you scripted and you wanted to be, factual with it, but you let your humor take over.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm the same way as you. I'll have my stuff with laws that they're breaking, but I want to be free. I want to be able to express myself and give that real person like you do on the shows.
People know if you're being fake. That's the thing. Yeah, okay. The captain voice, and that's a lot higher than what I normally talk, and I turn it up a little bit because the captain is just me, but turned up to 12. You know what I mean? Like, so it's still me, it's still genuine, but I make it my own by being a little bit unique with my voice and, with Terry and all these things that have come along the way. But if I was being disingenuous, if people would know if I was pulling my punches, let's put it that way. If I was deliberately censoring myself, people would know. Like if the insults diverted and only focused on one area, people would know. So I'm not being true to myself. If I'm like, I could quite easily, skip over a group of people and go, oh, I probably shouldn't make jokes about the LGBT community right now. Why? Why would I fucking take them out of the joke? But you'd know that. You'd know instantly, oh, he's pulling his punches here. He's not telling us, what we want to hear. He's not being that voice of the voiceless where we wish we could say this to our friends. You know what I mean? And that's what I try and pride myself on. I go, I've got to be me. I've got to say. So when I don't censor it off. I'm writing a joke and I go, I know it's probably going to upset some people, but it's going to go in because it's all funny or none of it is.
And we see that in your videos when you do your soft sit breakdowns, and that's what I love the most because it's so refreshing. Because yeah, you're being the captain, but we get the real you in those mannerisms and those jokes.
And you can tell when something actually pisses me off. Like I will, you can hear the difference in the voice and the tone between telling a joke and delivering insults to something that I've actually found disgusting. Anything to do with someone that's neglecting their kids or things like that, I'll go, well, fucking hang on a minute. That can't be right. And I get a lot of videos sent to me that I won't touch because it's not actually a DUI or it's not actually a drunk driver or it's not actually a sovereign citizen. It's someone actually having a mental breakdown, and I won't touch those videos because that's not meant to be made fun of. That's someone that's actually having a medical issue. Yeah, okay, it might be funny, but that's someone having an actual medical issue. It'd be like laughing at someone having a heart attack. Yeah, it's funny to us, but it's probably not the time to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so I deliberately avoid those ones and focus on the ones that I can actually insult and create fun out of. So if someone's just having a mental breakdown and talking in riddles, even though it comes across funny, it's, I don't know, that's the only thing that I draw a line on, going like, yes, it's all funny or none of it is, but you guys can make fun of that one on your own. I don't need to make their bad day worse.
Yeah. That's fair. That's very fair. All righty. Well, on that, NCR, I think we better. Yes.
So just before we go, when's this orgy getting started? You guys promised.
Oh yes, yeah. That's gonna fire up in about an hour.
Yeah, as soon as we kill the cameras here, and because Dwayne's already bringing up the KY and tarps.
Well, I'm already up too. If you get my drift, pitching a couple of tents in here.
You up?
Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my God, Captain, you're not gonna believe this, but
did you just get my photo?
No, but Anne, Hillary, and Emily are all here, and they're all wearing 3 different Catwoman outfits.
Oh, good. Oh, they obviously got my order from Temu. It's cheaper if you buy them in 3.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is good because there's 3 of them. Hey?
Oh, we're gonna have to wrap this up because there's some very distinguished guests that you guys need to get hold of. So,
did she bring the tinfoil? If she hasn't brought the tinfoil, she's not really keen. Don't ask me what we use that for. Okay, look, I'll tell you.
But on that note, again, thank you, Captain, for being here with us and doing this interview.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for getting my rider to include energy drinks. Appreciate that. Thank you.
It's not a problem.
Absolutely.
If you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe to the Nightcap. And don't forget the Captain's Friday shows, the Nightcap Nation. Join the Facebook group. Follow him on Facebook and on YouTube. You're not going to regret it. I am NCR News Network.
I'm Anthony Caruso.
And I'm the captain.
Be well, be safe, and always remember the Captain's famous parting words.
Hooray.
No, the
No,
other
which one?
The big one.
The big one, yeah.
Oh, you want the big one?
Yeah.
You want me to bring out the big guns?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mate. As if we say no to that.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Here we go.
2,
Two,
1.
One.
Fuck around.
Fuck around.
And
Ah.
find out.
And out.
Thank you, Captain, for being here. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next show, whatever it is.
And don't forget to touch yourselves inappropriately. That's very important.
Very important.